So, for example, let's just take I'm a first generation. I come from a life where in a 10 by 10 room, we had a door, a refrigerator, bunk beds, my parents on the bottom, my sister, my brother, and myself on the top, and a little window. That was our house in the South Bronx until we got to move to a 2 bedroom apartment. So I already have in the back of my head, I'm broke, I'm poor. That's who I'm going to be. But by aiming for more, you start changing that. But it doesn't really change until you attain something. That's why a lot of first generations get to work, and when they get their first paycheck, you know what's the first thing they buy? A car. A nice car. It should be all the way around. If we were financially educated, we go for that house. We go to move ourselves out of where we are. Not because we don't want to be associated with them, but it's because we need to change the environment around us for us to change ourselves. I have a friend of mine that is a first generation, worked at McKinsey, but he got his MBA at Fordham in the South Bronx. Now, McKinsey is one of the top consulting companies in the world. They don't hire anybody that's not an Ivy Leaguer. But they hired this guy from Fordham University, had an MBA from Fordham because he was really, really, really bright. At the age of 30, he moved out of the neighborhood, if you will. So he has a different perspective. He got the job being in the neighborhood. So every day, even though he had to wear the nice suits and all of that to go to work, he left the Bronx and came back to the Bronx. So he has a different perspective than mine. I left when I was 13, and I just go back to visit. Because my aunts and uncles and cousins still live in the same building, just in a different apartment. They never got out. And they see us different. They believe that we think we're better than them. And one cousin asked me, he called me and asked me once, and I said, no, I don't think I'm better than you. How come you don't come visit? I said, how come you don't come visit? Because I have to work. You don't think I work? So perspectives are distorted at times when you're not there with them all the time. So when we start talking about how people behave when it comes to economics, the whole background comes into play. So the main concern in behavioral economics is bounded of rationality, right? And that means that people don't have the time or don't like to take the time to make a smart decision. We're on the go. And technology today doesn't really help. Before, I don't know if you noticed, if there was an earthquake, I don't know, in the other side of the world, it took a day to find out that there was an earthquake over there. Now you find out within seconds. So you have become immune to emotions. 100,000 people dying. It's like, oh yeah, they had an earthquake, a few buildings fell, a whole bunch of people died. It's okay. They just move on. Before, you had the pre-emotions, you had the emotions, and then you had the PTSD. Now you just go to emotions, PTSD is over, next day keep on going. So fast, so unemotional. So when we talk about heuristics, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this. All right? Instead of the analysis, one option at a time, we use shortcuts to arrive at the decision that while maybe is not the absolute best, are usually good enough. Heuristics are mental rules of thumb that allow us to jump past all the hard thinking that might otherwise go into the decision. For example, we like to assume that things that worked in the past will work in the future. Most of the time, that's a pretty good assumption, but sometimes it can blind us to changing circumstances. Remember I told you about the frog that was